Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening. My name is Lemessy, Advanced Imaging Science student at University of the Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. Today, I will be speaking to you on the differences between the two periods, one being the present recession that the country is in and the Great Depression, and to persuade you into understanding and seeing that not only are we responsible for the recession that we are in, but our foreparents also contribute to this recession that we're in. I will share a better insight into these two eras of economic downturn and demonstrate that the blame is on both eras. The global financial rebuilding is imperative to correct the delinquent economical situation that the world is in today. So the economy today, the world is in such a downturn and a financial downturn that most persons are suffering as a result of the recession. I will give you a few definitions today. First, the Great Depression. The Great Depression, this was a period in the United States history when businesses were poor and many people were out of work. The Great Depression was also an economical slump in the North American and the Europe industrialization and the area of the world. This occurs around the 1929 and until the 1939. It was the longest and most severe depression ever experienced in the industrialization of the Western world. Secondly, I will demonstrate what is the economic depression. In economics, a depression is a sustained long turn down in the economy. Economic crisis. The term financial crisis is applied broadly to a variety of situations in which the financial sector has its assets lost and a large part of the value of the economy is going down. We all would have heard of stimulus. The government has given so many stimulus packages. In this economy, stimulus refers to the attempt to give monetary contribution towards the nation and towards the building of our economy. Inflation. In economics, inflation is a rise in the general level of the prices for goods and services that we as humans experience on a daily basis. So now that I've defined those terms for you, let me tell you a little of the Great Depression and the current recession that we are all experiencing today. This appears to be a growing concern that the economical community is in a recession and that this recession is the worst recession of all times. From media coverage and in some of our own lives, we can agree. We can believe. It's okay for us to believe and agree that there is a recession. According to many global economists today, the economic crisis was long overdue. And it is imperative for the government to correct this delinquent economical situation that's unfolding currently in our country. This apparent neglect and obvious ignore of our government has caused us to fall even deeper into the recession that we are experiencing today. Many elder Americans can recall the era of the Great Depression and the turndown. Later, it became a time where hardship, trials, and sacrifice all played a major role in the lifestyle of everyone that experienced that time. It was also known to all as the Great Depression. We all have heard of the Great Depression at some point in our social, economical, and political lives. This era had a tremendous impact on our society. Not only were there feelings of effect today, but our foreparents in the 1920s and the 1930s are equally wasteful and indifferent in their financial accountabilities the way we are today. I will go on to prove to you that not only are we responsible for our wasteful living, but we are spending lots of the country's resource on our wasteful gadgets of technology. There is an advertisement on television that says, do people use smartphones to do dumb things? They do. We use the smartphone to do everything. I am guilty of the smartphone to do dumb things. You're texting, you're sending pictures. It's just a major waste that has contributed to our recession today. To be able to differentiate the similarities and differences between these two periods, our American economic recession and the Great Depression, one must first familiarize themselves with the characteristics that embody those two periods. That's what I'm going to do today. According to an article from the World Wide Web, American Life History. It's a manuscript from the Federal Writers for a project that was done between 1939 and 1940. And I will provide the website to you on the brochures that you have to the back, and then you'll have a presentation with all on the table to the back of this room. Thousands of investors lost large sum of money, and many were wiped out. They've lost everything. That's what we refer to as the crash. It led us into the Great Depression and ensuring that the period where we had nothing and everything was beyond our means, our lifestyles are beyond our means. We're spending more than we are making. We're using more than we need to. We're doing everything beyond our regular lifestyle, and that's what has contributed to the recession that America is suffering today. Entrepreneurs today start business. The average small business goes out of business before the business has even reached a 3-year or a 5-year time frame. And that's because of the wastefulness. Instead of starting a business with the basic needs, they're starting a business and exceeding what the business basically needs. So we are, in fact, responsible for the situation that we are in. We are all guilty, myself and each and every one of you in my audience today, we are all guilty of the recession and contributing to it. Despite the apparent similarities of the two eras, most governments will argue that it was the Great Depression that characterized the course of today's economical climate. Apart from the leading and significant decline in the trade industry, the era brought about several social ills, as mentioned in the abundance of the article, American Life Histories. The rise to power of a dictator, Hitler. I am sure we have all heard of Hitler and the Japanese invasion of China and the Germans and the Japanese, which led us to World War II. Nevertheless, this war brought about a lot of great degree of employment, which saw an increase in the productivity of the American society. We, the present generation, have contributed so much to this recession that we're in that we must take full responsibility for what we are doing to ourselves. In conclusion, I would like to say that the industry of the U.S. today has great potential in tourism and travel, but instead our government are reinvesting money into the war overseas and bringing less into our country. People can travel longer distance in shorter period of time for business and for pleasure. With this accessibility, tourism can blossom like a Caribbean country. For instance, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago. These countries go by tourism and produce for the country. America is bent on just giving to these other countries for war and for our own selfishness. I plead with you, my audience today, examine yourself, because I will examine myself. Examine your spending. Examine your contribution to the great recession that we are in, that our foreparents has created as the Great Depression. This is not to point a finger and for you to go home and take your TV and sell it or anything that is your need. But just do your best to live by necessity and what you need and not exceed what is required. Thank you all for coming today. It's been a pleasure presenting to you, and have a wonderful day.